get a mic check, 1, 2. At the gate. Much love. Underground World News Live here on this 9/11/2024. I want to thank everyone out there that shares the stream. And I want to thank everybody out there for the feedback there as well. Thank you, E. Fitz. Thank you, Gabriel. D. White. Much love to all the purebloods out there. Hope everyone's doing well this evening. Mayhem. Much love. God bless. Last Stand as well. I was trying to catch up on you guys' comments in the chat there before I fired the stream up. Much love in all your endeavors and travels, guys. Just be safe. And thank you, Giovanni. Giovanni, I got your email, but I could not get the video clip to load for whatever reason. I tried. I will try again after the stream. Much love, Steve. Mock. Joe. Susie Q. Tacos, too. Trudy Ross. Everybody out there. Gary. Hope everyone's doing good. And, yeah, we got plenty to cover tonight. So, I'm just going to get to going here with this. And I want to start today off with a stream off here with the prayer. This goes out to anyone out there that needs it. Just asking the Most High in heaven to bless all that call upon Him and to help us win this battle against evil here on this 9/11, which is a day I hold with a special place in my heart, because it was on this day that really I started to wake up to so many things that I was blind to before. If you were around during that time, 9/11, you may recall what was going on in your life, but I'll never forget that ever since that day and all the events afterwards and all the research and everything afterwards, that's what kind of molded me into going after the truth. Well, in terms of events like this one, this was just massive. And to me, I'll never forget the individuals that were jumping that day and hitting the ground and all this other stuff. And just like this story says, remembering the man in the red bandana, all the people that were lost in this, that were out of the buildings, rest in peace again. So many firefighters and everyday people that were just working there and trying to save people's lives. But yeah, this day, 9/11, I could spend hours and hours talking about it alone. But for those that have been following me, you know all the things that I've covered on this throughout the years. And all the attacks that I've taken as well. Original channels and everything else, videos and all that stuff. Those were some of the heaviest hit things in terms of getting strikes and all this other stuff. This is before Sandy and all these other events. So this was one of the big ones, the first ones that they were coming after. And I'm missing all kinds of videos because of it. I had a video of, and it stayed up on my channel for a long time, but I had a video, and if I can find the footage, because this was the clip came from common footage that's out there on 9/11. It was just zoomed in, and it shows an orb in broad daylight leaving off of the tower before it goes down. And I don't think they liked that. it was plain as day. It was an orb, and it was like sitting there parked on top of the tower, like sitting in that vicinity. It took off right before it goes down. Of all the craziness and crazy stuff that happened on that day, of crazy devil faces and everything else we seen in the smoke, that was wild. And they targeted that video and took it down, and never gave me a valid reason for why. It wasn't a community guideline. It wasn't copyright. Nothing like that. It just got taken down. So, a lot of crazy, strange things happened on that day. And, yeah. Start off just by giving a shout out to all the lives lost on that day here on 9/11, at 9:11 p.m. Crown Jewels in the house. Yes, yes. Much love, my brother. Good to see you. Hope all is well on your side of the pond over in the UK. You, Daz, Lord McCormick, everyone over there. Know you got your own stuff you're dealing with. Here in my neck of the woods, give you an update. The suspected Kentucky I-75 shooter still on the run. They suspect that he may be hiding in the National Forest. Police believe that he has acted alone. And this is kind of a creepy feeling when you know that there's someone out there that was just shooting random people. And, you know, you never know what's going to happen next. This guy could pop up and just take over someone's car, hop in their vehicle, come into their home. They believe he's still in the woods somewhere. And they've been scouring this area. They've been closing down roadways, opening them back up, letting some traffic through, closing them back down. No signs. He was smart enough to leave his electronics or his phone in the vehicle, but it looks like he shot from this ledge, threw the gun, took off on foot, and did not go back to the vehicle. Did not, if he did, he just went there to basically drop everything off, and he took off from there. Which they think is, he had time at that point to hop in the car and get out of there if he chose. But he didn't. He chose to flee into the woods with nothing tracking him. And he can only go so far without food and water. Right out the gate, water. There hasn't been a lot of rain or precipitation here recently. He would have to be going down near the river or a waterway to get that water source. And they know this. They have drones out there looking for this guy. When as I said on the last stream, me and Gary were standing out here, I looked up and I seen this. It looked like a missile. It looked like a missile, man, because it had like little wings on the front and the back of it, and it had no contrail, and you couldn't hear it. I'm telling you, like any plane that comes through here, helicopter, anything like that, you hear it. Like I hear everything. And you could see this thing way up there. No sound, there was no nothing. No windows. I'm like, is that a missile? And then I got to thinking, man, that's one of their drones, for sure. It's heading right in that direction. So they had some high-tech gear flying around in terms of the drones, and they still do. This guy is evading them. Still on the loose, this Joseph Couch. I'm in his mind, he's probably thinking that he killed multiple people. I don't see, he could be somewhere watching all this, but I don't know about that. I think that this comes to an end within the week. I'm hoping anyway. And let's just pray that no one else gets hurt. That's the biggest thing here. shot all these innocent people. It's not like he went on a rampage against, I don't know. It's just innocent people. It's uncalled for. You can't have that. There's nothing heroic about that. You know, nothing fighting against the beast about that. You know, but the dude's on the run. And I don't like it. So be safe if you're down in this area. I know some people think they can go out there and lend a hand. But they say that if the guy's alive, he's in the bush, he's trained to survive, and he could pop up out of the creek or anything like that any moment, jump into somebody's car. So it looks like all these victims are going to survive this. And I can only think that in his mind, if he's out there on the run, in the woods, in his mind, he thinks he killed people. He thinks he killed probably everyone that he hit. But he didn't. Every single one of them survived, and it's a blessing. This is in the area that I'm very familiar with, that when we just switched up the routine here recently from where we were getting some of our produce, and we were going out to London. Yeah, I'm familiar with this anyway. A lot of this area, man. I've grown up here my whole life. Passed down through this area many times. I'm going to tell you now, it's wooded, and this guy can be anywhere. So if he got outside of the ring that they're looking, he might have had a chance, but I don't know. On the run is a difficult thing. To be on the run is harder than you think. Unless he's got help, of course. You could say all these different things, and he could. He could have had help. It could be more staged in that aspect than we even know. But right now, he acted alone, they say. He's still armed and dangerous. Considered armed and dangerous, even though he threw the AR. Just a heads up, if you're in this area, he's still out there. It's a crazy thing. All right, an update also to the Salmonella outbreak. This was linked to eggs, and it was only like 3 states. Now it's spread across 9 states. And it's being tracked back to eggs sold by Milo's Poultry Farms, and this is based in Wisconsin. And they say that a detailed map now highlights the infections have spread across California, Utah, Colorado, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, and Virginia, with a majority of those cases in Wisconsin and Illinois. So just a heads up. If you think that you may have eggs that were bought here, I would look into it. You don't want to mess around with the Salmonella bacteria. And I don't know, I really think the best way to go here, if you can, is with some chickens. Just have a few. You don't have to have a lot. Have a few. Have them a little hen house, little spot for them, little caged area, whatever. And they will provide you with your own eggs. And some people don't like eggs like that because they think that they're too rich and all that, and they like the taste and the flavor of the dyed white eggs you get out of the store. But they're all manipulated. If you went to all natural and you want all the nutrients, it's going to taste richer. It's the way that it is, right? But can't go wrong with some chickens out there, in my opinion. Just keep them hidden. Don't let nobody know. Last thing you need is someone come knocking on your door saying, yeah, we were out here testing your chickens. They've got bird flu. You know, you got to kill them all. Nobody needs to know nothing. If you're out of sight, out of mind. That's where I would start. I get a lot of questions as to where should I go? What should I do? And I would start with something that's out of sight, out of mind. Right? So, yeah, keep it pushing here. If you guys are in any of those states, just beware. Live Hurricane Francine making landfall in Louisiana. This is a Category 2. A shout out to Hoodie Ross. Anyone else that's down here in Louisiana in the track of this, it's really centering over New Orleans at the moment. Terrebonne Parish, that whole region right now, coming in at a Category 2. They predicted this, at least a Category 2. That's where it's at. This thing's going to drop massive flooding. And it's already begun. So, if you're further inland and further north, you're going to be on the outside of the eye of this thing. But either way, it looks like it's going to drop a lot of rain, a lot of flooding. This is the strongest storm of the hurricane season thus far. So it says, in comparison, Hurricane Beryl, which hit Texas on July 8th, and Hurricane Debbie, which struck Florida on the 5th, were both Category 1 storms at landfall. So, yeah, this is the strongest thus far. I'd expect a lot of rain out of this, and as it comes inland, if it hits your state, you could see some as well. Let me turn the volume down there. Someone bought a coffee. Thank you. Godspeed. And I send prayers out there. I ask the Most High to help you. Most High in heaven to answer your prayers. And much love and God bless there on that. We've got more than just the flooding going on with this hurricane as well. It's wrecking our oil production. Some people really don't care about some of these things, but the price at the pump is going to show if they get devastated. You can see all these places right there off the coast. When it comes to the Gulf and where all the oil sits, you can see all these dots right there. It's where all these rigs are out there. And where a majority of the oil and gas sits, they're offshore. But, a direct hit right now in terms of the storms hitting that. So we don't know how many get damaged. Usually a few get damaged. But, yeah, man, we're just going to keep an eye on that. And let's take it up to space. To the sun. Get an update there. Because they're saying now that the sun is doing something that it's not supposed to be doing. And this could mean big trouble in the months ahead. Meaning that this could generate issues with weather, earthquakes, volcanoes, all the stuff, because they thought by now they would see a peak in solar activity, and they're not. It's continuing to ramp up. They say for August, they expected about half of what they saw in terms of sunspots. And they're hoping that it dies down this month. Thus far, they're still there, very active. Although we haven't seen any X flares this past week, there have been a couple filament eruptions, one of them Earth-facing. But nothing super crazy going on. except for the fact that it's more active than usual. So this is going to like drag out solar cycle 25 into 2025. This has just been a prolonged peak of a solar cycle, so we could continue to see X flares for who knows how long, to be honest with you. Yeah, sun just more active than usual. Now, we also have a ton of wildfires going on out there. I've seen some of you in the chat talking about this, saying that you had smoke in your area, that you were near the wildfires and this and that. So we've got them going down in California, Nevada, Oregon. There's some other states that got some fires too, but these are like of the biggest. Thousands of people having to evacuate. Hundreds of thousands of acres burning. Hundreds of thousands of acres burning. Just getting burnt up. So people are getting evacuated, businesses and schools shutting down. There's widespread power outages all around these areas. And these heat waves help fuel it. If you don't know, the fire is driven by the sun. If you've never fought a forest fire, let me tell you, it's not fun. The wind is one thing, but everything is driven by the sun. And they'll tell you that. You'll learn that. The wind is driven by the sun. It heats up in the atmosphere and starts to push everything, energize everything. But what's crazy is if you have a fire, a wildfire, and they think they got it out, they've been fighting it all night, and it's out. For all intents and purposes, it's out. It's beat. It's done. Well, when the sun comes back up and starts shining on it, believe it or not, it can spring back to life. These hot spots can pop up and they can reignite the whole thing. It's crazy, but I've experienced it myself. And out there where it's super hot in these places, man, I can only imagine. This is not fun. So just be thankful if you're not having to fight that. You can see some of the images here. Just how cloudy and murky the skies are. This one in California threatens more than 65,000 structures, including homes and businesses, all in the path. So, it's right there. You could see people standing in the street looking. It's right there coming down the hillside. Yeah, man. Hope you guys got a plan if you're out there in the line of fire or around this stuff. And don't ever stick around if you think that, a fire's rolling up on you. Get all the life that you can, pets, your animals, whatever you can with you and your family, and get out and go. Because these fires can wrap around and they can cut you off. You need to know your surroundings, how to get out of there. Trust me, because it can get real scary. Because I've been in forest fire at night, running, jumping through the fire lines. It's scary stuff, man. Yeah, but I'll update. We see any of those fires get put out, or we see any new ones spring up. Well, I got another bit of space news here. If you guys don't know, SpaceX just launched the Polaris Dawn. And they're saying, this is all of what they're telling us and saying here. They're saying that it hit a record high orbit today. That it has gone higher than the 1966 Gemini 11 record, is what they're saying. And that they haven't done nothing like this since the Apollo missions. Which we know a whole lot of it was fraudulent. and faked, especially when it comes to the moon theatrics. Um, but this is crazy. We have a billionaire, Jared Isaacman. He is preparing, and he will attempt the very first private spacewalk by human ever. And I'm just saying, if things go wrong, man, obviously people can lose their life in an instant. He doesn't, the thrill, the rush, the status, the legendary status he thinks he'll get from doing this and all that. That's, remember, we still have people sitting on the ISS up there. All right? And Boeing just brought back the Starliner empty with no people on it. Okay? And they lied to us so bad about all this. That's why I want to get a balloon launched with cameras on it so we can just answer some of these things ourselves. But I don't know if you guys recall, was it Challenger? They came back in orbit years ago. It blew apart. It blew apart. I think maybe even it was taken off. It blew apart. It was Challenger, I do believe. Man, they found people's body parts across states. Helmets. Pieces of the debris of it. Okay. So crazy things happen, man. And don't forget, that was a wild one. Watching that one live. Anything can happen. What happens, this dude gets out there and his tether breaks. See ya, son. You're gone. Anyone else got the kahunas or the suit or anything else to jump out there and save him? Hope your tether don't snap. He's going to go for this little spacewalk. Like, there's 4 people up there right now that just flew up there. Him and a couple other people. Experts, they're saying. And, okay, let's see if they live stream all this. And let's see if the background is pitch black. Or if you can see a single star. Step outside right now, look up. Look at all them stars. How come they tend to disappear in some of their footage all the time? That's ridiculous to me. Anyhow, this guy's said to be doing this, and I just want to let everyone know in case we hear of this any craziness that comes out of this. Like, they got to make it all the way back down here safe. So yeah, you've got people stranded on the ISS. This dude's just going up there for a walk. There's the team right there. It's these people right here. And this is the dude right there. That's the dude going to do the walk. Yeah, it was, Kathy. Yeah. And look at this. Elon Musk projected to be the world's first trillionaire by 2027. And this is all fueled by space race bets and the whole space thing, period. Everything going on with it was Starlink, SpaceX. I mean, if you just look at what they've been doing huge things. All the aircraft, all the technology they're rolling out. I expect that if we see something rolled out to the world, that it could very well be presented to us by someone like SpaceX. When they roll out a brand new spaceship. And like, well, this it uses new technology, and they talk in their nerdy little way, and like it's no big deal, but really it's breakthrough, it's earth-shattering. When like they actually finally put out here anti-gravitics, which we know they have. Propulsion with mercury and everything else. When they put this out there, then you know that everything has changed because they've mastered the whole rocket thing at this point. They can take it, they can fly it up there, and they can even fly it back, and they can land, they can stick the landing in the middle of the ocean on one of these platforms. Okay, so they can do all these things, and yeah, there's errors and there's explosions and all this other stuff, but they can do it. I fully expect that by like 2030 and beyond, some of this is going to get put out there because this is all a puppet show for mankind. They really want to start doing things and moving around. They'll roll out some of this technology. We know they got it. Man, I've seen it with my own eyes. I'm going to get to some crazy stuff later about UFOs, UAPs. I put out a video on it today on my channel. But I got a lot of stuff to tear into with that. I'm going to save it toward the back end. Elon's key in all this, though. If we're going to see any leaps and bounds in technology like the Jetsons or anything like that, it's going to come from someone like this, a company like this. Because they dominate right now. In rocket launches and all that, they dominate. China trying to catch up with him and his Starlink. They're trying to like copycat it like you do everything. And provide people globally in the different places with internet, which is to their advantage as well. They'll use it militarily, first and foremost. The fact that Elon kind of rolled his out as a public feature here worldwide is different. Let the people be able to utilize this stuff instead of just militaries and governments and keeping it in the hands of the very few. That can be a very powerful thing. And he didn't. He said, nope, we're going to let the whole world have it. And if you missed it with this little battle with Brazil, they banned X down there, and he was still beaming it into the country from space. Even though they shut everything down on the ground, he was still beaming it in from space. And he's like, I got you. You can do nothing to stop it. And then he just kind of backed off. And, like, they struck a little deal with him. He's like, all right. We're just going to completely quit broadcasting in here till we settle this thing. But he showed them, you can't stop me. Like, I can blast information into your country in any freaking minute, and you can't stop it unless I choose to stop it. That's what he showed everybody. And that's where it sits. That's the advantage he has here. Communication is key. If you put a whole country in the dark, but yet you can still communicate, it's key. You can move through the whole country communicating with your people or your army or your military or whoever. You can just slaughter them. Especially if you have direct connection and comms anywhere literally anywhere you want. Deep in the jungles. It's a game changer, I'm telling you. And it's also a game changer in terms of like when they're trying to strike something, if they're sending a drone or a missile or anything like that in, a lot of this GPS stuff and satellites are used to precision strike things. So this is all these satellites, man. It's pretty crazy. All right, here's one for you. You hear all the time of this green agenda, and you hear about them talking about gas and coal, and that you need to do away with it, that it's bad. Well, it's apparently not that bad. I call them hypocrites, and I say that nobody backs down and bends a knee to any of this ever, but especially until some of the other world players like slow down. For instance, China is the biggest consumer of coal on the planet. And doesn't no one say a word to them about climate anything? Climate nothing. gas and coal rule the United States grid. Did you know that? As this says right here. They want to say all these things and make all these moves, but that's just to cripple us. Natural gas and coal remain the source of over half of our electricity generation. That's crazy. More than half. You could always go off-grid and go that route. I suggest you do a combination, gasifier, solar, things like that. You can do it. Where there's a will, there's a way. But yeah, this is huge. Say the Kamala Harris regime gets installed. Dude, they will crush these things. They will, like the icing on the cake. They will come in to finish off everything. You thought jobs were wiped out bad before, inflation, this or that. They will devastate everything. They'll go after coal, gas. I think it'll start a war between states, if it hasn't already. Like my state, for instance, threatened to kick people out, even the biggest banks, because the government tried to come here and tell us years ago that you had to shut down all your coal plants, but they didn't do it here. And that winter was a terrible winter, one we ain't seen in a long time. And because they kept the coal fired up, it saved lives. Of course, when they go and tell the federal government that, the federal government's just like, we don't care. That's because they wanted the opposite effect, obviously. They didn't want them to save lives. That's really what all this is about to me. My state is hip to it. They've wisened up to it. Feels good to know, not just me out here preaching these things. Actually, other people in my state, they see the fangs of the beast. And they told them, drop it. Like, this is our way of life. If you don't like it, you ain't doing business here. Get out. My state's made a lot of crazy moves. The feds, for example, can't come here and try to arrest you and call the sheriff for backup, or call the local police or the military or anyone in my state. It's illegal. It's on the books now. When they come in here, they're on their own. I like them odds. Anyhow, if federal government had it their way, they'd come in and they'd try to shut down everything everywhere. I foresee in the future states breaking away and making their own choices and decisions like mine. And they're going to fire these coal plants back up. And it's going to help them to survive and maybe even be prosperous. But you're going to have to battle you-know-who in the midst of it. And they're going to try to do all types of things to you. A shocking new survey exposes the reality that only 23% of independents out there think that the economy is on the right track. So nobody has any faith in what's going on, inflation, all this crazy stuff. It's pretty big. Pretty big there when the numbers across the board are showing that even the Democrats are ticked off. They don't like where this is going. Today I saw something like they're pulling back inflation 2.5%. I'm like, oh man, that might work for a few lemmings out there, a few sheep, but it's not going to work for anyone else. They could see that you're trying to save base, literally, this right before the finish line of the election, right before everyone actually, goes out on the 4th and does this. I'm going to get more into the politics here in a minute. This all kind of ties in together here tonight. I want to point out a few things, though, and this is important. A big event's about to happen. I say this here on 9/11 of all days, remembering the biggest event we've ever seen here. Outside of the lockdowns and all that stuff, the biggest event like that we've ever seen. I feel like another grandiose event is about to happen. You can feel it. It could be one of several things. It could be a combination, a combo. one thing is for sure here: the economy is not going to last in a bull run forever. It's just not going to, and it's going to come down, and it's going to come down hard. Okay, let's just start there, since I'm in the economic stuff. Okay, J.P. Morgan tumbling after it's, and I don't care what his bank, the president says or any of that. I think that that's just an excuse for them dumping. He says the analysts are too optimistic. Oh, well, he made a comment, said the analysts are too optimistic. That's the cause for it to dump out like to hell and back? I don't think so. Some of us just think that's stupid. And we sit back and have the eyes to see, can see what's happening, because it's not just J.P. Morgan now. And some of us also have information and knowledge of other things. For instance, if you missed it, TD Bank in Canada is being investigated for money laundering Chinese money. And they're saying that a dozen or so big U.S. banks are in on this. They've yet to name them. And I'm here to tell you, they're about to. And the moment they do, these banks dump. You ain't getting money out of them. People aren't getting nothing out of ATMs. The chaos is going to begin. The warning, look, that is a fact. Okay, that is a fact. The TD Bank is under investigation. Just type it into your research. You're going to find articles and everything else on it. And you're going to see that they're suspected of everything I just told you of. And then you're going to see and you're going to find out that American banks are tied into this. But you're not going to find a single name of one of them. Okay? This is about to happen. It has to. Investigations are not just going to sit there and wait all day for these dudes to dump. But they kind of are. All these big dogs are dumping. And that's exactly what this is. Now it's J.P. Morgan. Chase, the biggest bank out there, dumping like no other. So who else has been dumping? Warren Buffett. He's been dumping to hell and back as well for the past 2 months. What does the article say? Preparing for a crash? I think so. He's selling off hundreds of millions of shares. He's pocketed over $7 billion in the past 2 months alone. Something is about to happen. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. Many other analysts look at this and they're like, hold on, dude. Like, what is he dumping? He's dumping. Well, that's exactly what's happening. As OBS threw out for a slight second. Hopefully she'll only take a second if it glitches. I can't stress this enough, though. This is important stuff that when these guys are selling, let's look at the, this is what you would call a double top. You see the top's in, when something goes up in, it does this, and he's selling, you can see right here on these tips massively. Right here. And because of the way that he's selling, he has to report it in a certain fashion. Okay? If you scroll down right here, what's it say? Last week, we offered some ideas on why Buffett might be selling. It would make a lot of sense for the billionaires traders to reduce the BOFA stake below the 10% threshold, eliminating the need for continuous reporting. So, they are dumping en masse off the top, and they're drawing back a hair just to get it below the 10% threshold. Okay? Are you with me? Because when you do this, you don't have to report it every few days. You can actually wait months. But by then it's too late. You could be in the Great Depression months from now. What we just witnessed is some of the biggest banks out there dumping off the top. And we know that one of the world's richest men is stuffing it in his pocket. I don't know what else to tell you. Besides that, I mean, that's like the writing is on the wall in blood. Look at that chart. Double top in. Right there, same thing. Boom, Boom. He dumped off both those tops. It's in. It's done. That's what I would say. On the flip side of things, Vladimir Putin ignites stocks in the uranium sector. They're going after gold, and of course they're involved in war right now, and with the chance of nuclear war and any of this other stuff popping off at any time. Uranium now going through the roof. And uranium, I mean, of course it's used in weaponry and all this other stuff, but it would be, uranium is just like gold or any other element like this. You would rather have it in physical possession than have a stock, right? Because stock can be dumped and all that. Uranium stocks. And then when we get over here to the crypto, this is what I warn you about the crypto all the time. Americans have lost $5.6 billion, that's with a B, in cryptocurrency scams throughout the last year. This is insane. Now, if you'd have been using gold or silver or anything like that, we don't see reports like that. $5.6 billion Americans just got ripped in 1 year. Man, that's bad. Do you really trust this stuff? I've told you about this time and time again. In Uncommon, no, I did not see that. I have to relook. A lot of times, man, I find stuff gets sent to the spam. So I'll have to check on that. But yeah, with crypto, I've warned you. What's that lead to? It leads to, this whole thing with crypto was to warm you up for a CBDC. CBDCs are going to allow the police to collect, to store all your personal data, all of it for a surveillance state. And guess what? It's not just us out here saying this. This is coming from the IMF. Of all places on the planet, the International Monetary Fund. The IMF is stating this, putting this warning out, which you would have never thought. But they are. So it's like, man, if you're not going to listen to us and take the advice from us of how dangerous the CBDC is, this is them saying this. They are saying it's going to allow the police to collect and store your data. It's going to create a surveillance state. They are saying this, not Abu 7. Okay? I warned you about it back in 2017. Wow, time flies. That's 7 years ago now. Sure enough, the Beast system, the Beast blockchain video that I dropped here on this channel, here we are. I gave you a 7-year jump on this. They're about to install it. Actually, they're installing it in other countries all over the place. But they just need the right crisis here. Again, and this brings me to the whole crisis thing. It seems it has to affect the economy. The economy and the dollar. The economy and the dollar. It kind of goes hand in hand. And a major way to do that would be to freeze up the banks or to have something hit the banks. Like that IT glitch. Something. To me, it's the biggest way. You got to get the people to accept the digital wallet, which they will do easily. And you got to have them using their phones. They got to have power and all this other stuff. They got to be... They gotta usher the lemmings into this, you see? And then slam the gate behind them. So if you create a crisis where they can't get the money out of their bank, and you're like, oh, after 2 weeks, everyone's going apeshit. You're like, okay, I'm gonna send you some money. And they're like, okay, how? Like, simply, Go and download this digital wallet. Every bank has got a digital version of wallet for you. And this is real. They've got it right now. They already do. Sitting there waiting and rubbing their hands together, just waiting for this crisis. They need an event. It's nuts because it's all in place. The infrastructure is sitting there waiting. And for anyone that has a brain and eyes to see, and you see this, you're like, hold on a second. No one's using this stuff. It's just sitting there. It's like, yeah. Well, everyone's going to jump on it as soon as they can't access the money in their bank. I've only warned you a million times. Then the CBDC, there it is. There it is. It's installed. And they ain't got to call it a CBDC. They'll call it the digital dollar or whatever. They'll change the name just to try to fool a couple more. But it is. That's what it is. It's all tracked on blockchain, on a ledger, tracking your every move, and that's all that counts. Sure enough. So, one event away from that. Any day. And look where this leads. This leads to the digital ID and all that, right? This is an ominous thing right here. India is going to digitize their whole entire agricultural sector through a unique digital farmer ID. So I've told you before how big of a threat this universal, this global ID thing is that they're trying to push. Have it locked in by 2030. The real ID whole thing has your biometrics, everything stored in it. They're coming in all avenues, every country. India, no different. Most populated place on the planet at this point. So they're going there. And they're rolling this out. And you have to have this unique digital farmer ID to be able to do business. If you want to be able to buy or sell goods, you have to have this to do it. Start to sound familiar? Start to sound like anything? Can't buy or sell without it, without that mark. Without that biometric ID that, guess what? The new thing right after this is you don't have to have an ID no more. All you have to have is a simple little tattoo type thing on your hand that can be scanned anywhere and everywhere you go. When they get the most populated place on the planet doing this, it's going to start to spread. And when they don't have the same beliefs, when they don't see this, or when they don't see the beast system for what it is, I don't even know what to say. That's scary. They're going to go right into it. They're going to go right along with it. Them, China, all these other places that don't believe in Jesus, that don't believe in the Bible or anything else like that. They have their own way of thinking or whatever. They're going to go right along with this. This is scary. Do you remember what the lady said in that video I played a few weeks ago? Do you remember what she said? They are already ready, Freddie, for the bird flu. And what's their plan? They are targeting in the United States our farmers. And they're going to go after them. They already got it. They already got everything. They already have it all made. And they're going to start sending and going after every single farmer with these jabs to make sure that they've got them as soon as this breaks loose. And if you don't have it, you won't be able to produce any goods. You won't be able to buy or sell. Same thing. In the end, same thing. Targeting the farmers. So don't forget that. If this bird flu stuff or whatever breaks loose, big time, they're already ready. And I showed you the clip. The lady said, we're ready to rock. This ain't like this other stuff or this disease or that disease. When it comes to the bird flu, like the mortality rate with that anyway, that really seems to be the one. We're just sitting here, like, patiently waiting, I guess, for it to fire up. Thank you, Uncommon. All right, top of the hour. Right on cue. A shout out to everybody out there. Much love. Hope everyone's having a good evening. That's right, Dominic. You got that. God bless, my brother. He's coming back with a sword, bringing fire, burn up these tears. Gotta keep it quiet, Mike. No one's supposed to know. Okay, everything's all right there. I am only streaming on YouTube here tonight. Just because of some issues that I was having with like a restream in OBS and just trying to get to the bottom of it, so I cut restream out. So we're just going direct to YouTube through the OBS off the stream key there. That's why. And it's been doing better. So let's talk politics. If you guys missed it, Tooge covered this. Make sure to check out Brother Tooge. He's one of my mods. You may see him in the chat here and there. The wrench next to his name. He streams over on D Live. Maybe even YouTube. Maybe it wasn't YouTube, but I watch him on D Live. That's what I'm used to. I was watching a debate over on his stream. Didn't watch the entire thing, but I watched enough to get my fill. I've been doing this a long time, these debates. There's a few things I watched and I picked up on, but she seemed well rehearsed, is what it felt like. And it really felt like the moderators it was like a 3-on-1. They weren't fact-checking anything that she was saying and all this other stuff. It was odd. I'm not no big Trumper, but anyone sitting there watching could see the whole thing when it comes to the mainstream media and all the time. Even when they come out with the polls, they're trying to show that she's in the lead. Like, get out of here. You're gaslighting everybody again, and it's lies. Just go to their events. The events are voters. You know that, don't you? You know, like, we can see you, you know. Like, when no one comes to the event, it says it all. You go to Trump's event, I mean, he's got boat parades back out and all this other stuff. Go on. You don't see that for them at all. At all. It's right there, hands down. You already know who won. You already know who the people are supporting. Right there. Going to the hoods, going to the country, going to wherever. It's the same thing. Come on. Majority of the people gravitate toward Trump, and it's obvious, but yet Yahoo or wherever put out a poll, it'll show you Kamala's up by 5 points or something. Like this, like shove it. Like, but then when they get caught, they try to cite, oh, well, this person that we had go out might have oversampled or undersampled here or there, which means basically they go into an area that they like, and out of 1,000 people, 990 will be Democrats and, 10 Republican. That's super biased. But the whole thing was just, I don't know, these debates anymore, regardless, are so staged feeling. They're not true showdowns. It's just so much like, just feels fake. Right? Feels fake. Let's get into some of the juicier stuff. The conspiracy theories. One of those conspiracies is that Kamala, whatever you want to call her, she was wearing these audio earrings. And there's a lot of talk about this, a lot of controversy. Nova Pearl. Yeah, and it doesn't help that when the company comes out to try to clear some of these things up, that they don't. They kind of add more speculation because there was all these rumors swirling that the earring that you see in her ear right here was these Nova pearls, which are audio earrings that will clip on to your ear. But the Novas are different, as it was being stated, even by the company, saying that the bottom piece is different, but there are different designs. Let me see if I can find their statement. Because people were saying, oh, she was getting help. You know, Obama in the back room coaching her or whatever. But others were saying that no, she was wearing a pair of Tiffany pearl earrings. Okay, a pair of Tiffany pearl earrings that she's been seen wearing before, but others were saying no. It was this, it was that. It's an argument. They're saying right here, like this guy's arguing that they're not even close in this and that. But the Germany-based company responded. Okay, and they say the resemblance is striking, the company told the news. This is what they say following the debate. When everyone said that, they went to them and they said, we do not know whether Miss Harris wore one of our products. The resemblance is striking. And while our product was not specifically developed for the use at presidential debates, it is nonetheless suited for it. This is what the main guy said. To ensure a level playing field for both candidates, we are currently developing a male version and will soon be able to offer it to the Trump campaign. The choice of color is a bit challenging, though, as orange does not go well with a lot of colors. That's what the dude said. Currently, we are unfortunately out of stock and also busy preparing a lawsuit against a big Chinese tech company breaching our patents. We're talking to investors in order to ramp up operations according, all right, blah, blah, blah. He didn't come out and say, no, that's not our model. This and that. He didn't. He could have shot it down quick, but he didn't do that. He left the door open and then went on to say that they're coming up with the model for Trump. That what? That what makes it look like it's not even on his ear? Or it blends in? I don't know. Could he tap it and explode and look like blood? Is he going to wear it in the same ear? Oh, man. I've been trying to find some up-close pictures of Trump's ear. HD. It'd be worth it if anyone was in the flesh, if you go to any of these events. Because I've been to Trump rallies. I've been to a lot of places where Trump's been. And I've seen him. He's been within like 15 feet of me. It would be worth getting digital footage. You know, I'm talking the highest grade you could get, HD, of his ear. So we could inspect it. Dude should have a perma hole where this bullet ripped through it. Something we should be seeing. For sure. People don't forget. Well, on this 9/11, looky here. We had Rudy Giuliani come out of his hole, stand up there with Trump and Vance and Kamala and Biden, like all up here for 9/11. And then it happens. Cameras rolling. Joe Biden grabs a hat, and this is real, and puts a Trump 2024 hat on his head. Some are going to be like, what? Yeah, I get that. He did it, and they said he did this stunning move as to try to show that they're all together, that they can stand united. A sign of unity, so to speak, by doing this. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. It's like, with all the stuff going on out there, but I mean, is there more to it, is what I ask. With all the subliminals and the sigils and how deep the black magic runs and goes, man. It's just like, you would have never thought, right? Well, there you go. I mean, he's not running again anywhere, anything like that. He's like on vacation. He's just waiting to exit the stage. I mean, will something happen with Joe Biden in the coming weeks that causes him to have to step down and Kamala to step in as president early, where she's actually, she gets the title, even if she loses this next one? Or will it serve as a boost to her? Or will it serve as a boost? Well, we got a former CIA advisor warning that a November surprise could trigger the biggest constitutional crisis in America. And, of course, he didn't come out and flat out tell you exactly what that is. He wants you to buy his book. But I've talked about this surprise that could happen before. Well, before all this even happened and Kamala was the pick, and we were speculating and everyone was talking like, who could it be? It could be Newsom, and it could be that, it could be this. We come to find out that there was a fund of $90-some million that had just her and Joe's name on it. And that if they didn't go with her in this election, they lost all that money. They couldn't touch it because of the way the rules go. So that right there was an ominous sign that they were going to be going with her. And they did. And they've definitely grabbed that money and ran with it. But I don't doubt if, what happens if something happens to her? Something crazy. Car wreck, something stupid. I mean, something. Get sick, stricken with something. I'm just saying. What if they have to bring in someone else? Now that would be something that people are not ready for. If she, last minute, couldn't run either, for whatever reason under the sun, who would they slide in last moment as their pick? You already know in the polls, one person outshines them all from their side. That's old Mikey. Talk about a dark horse and everyone expecting something crazy to happen. Well, we'll see. The way it's going, though, I expect this to be her versus Trump. And I expect the theatrics to begin on election night when they're counting all this stuff, like big time. I remember back when it was Hillary. When you went to bed, they were telling you that Hillary Clinton was going to be projected to be, your president, and also woke up the next morning, it was Trump. Mainstream hated him that bad, though. Hated him that bad. They couldn't even admit on election night that he was your president. And then the next time around, you seen what happened. They gave it what we got stuck with now, this Biden crap. Okay, so in all reality, where this goes, I feel like Kamala is like going to be quick destruction. If they announce that she's your president election night expect like that night, like we saw it before, expect things to dump or spike or do this and that. It depends on who they announce. But boy, oh boy, with what she's threatened with taxes and everything else, you can expect right there on the money, people are going to be dumping. The market's going to tank. If you thought things were bad before, it's going to go into hyperdrive, like literally into depression. They're going to steal all your 401ks, I've told you. They're probably going to do it right then on that night. I'm just kidding. I don't know when they're going to do it, but it's going to dump that night if they install her. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Just on what I just said alone, because of what she's threatening to do. They will sell their stuff immediately. All kinds of people, because of what she's threatening to do. Unrealized gain tax, capital gains tax raised, all this stuff through the roof. Yeah. When those people dump, that gives no incentive anymore to invest. And we're seeing why is JP Morgan Chase dumping out? Why is BOFA dumping out? One of the world's richest men in what we just covered earlier, everything dumping. Well, we'll see. All right. Keep it pushing here. RFK Jr. I told you before, he's kind of like a monkey wrench in this whole thing, depending on how they play it out. But it looks like Michigan's trying to stand strong, so to speak. And not take him off the ballot, which, when it comes down to this stuff, man, why I keep mentioning this is because, look what they've done already. I just told you with the closeness with Hillary and how they reported it, and then with the second one, they gave it to Biden. The theatrics, man. If it comes down to Michigan, it comes down to one state and need those votes, and Trump don't get the votes because 2% of it went to RFK, and something stupid. I feel like that is very likely. It could happen. That's if they install Kamala. I feel like if they give you Trump, it's just delaying the inevitable. But you're going to have more time. There'll be a little bit of a party, a bit of a reprieve, but not for long, because I think that then the chaos will start to begin. What happens if this whole trial on him, it's been delayed till after the election? Imagine he wins it, and then they're like, you're guilty, and you got to serve time. The sitting president would have to go and serve time. I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff surrounding Trump here that can cause chaos big time. What happens if they put Kamala in? He's still got to go to court. And then they put him in jail. And then we're stuck with Kamala, and then they throw Trump in jail. What does that look like? What is Trumpers going to do then? Huh? I don't know, man. I see some chaotic events ahead. That's for sure. But when it comes to these players in the game, man, they are players. One big club, you ain't in it. Let's take a look at Kamala. I'm going to play this little clip here. It shows you how big of a hoe this woman is. And it goes back to Willie Brown. She was one of Willie Brown's Ann Montel's pieces. She was passed around. This is back in 1995. Boy, take me back. I look a bit teen. Here she with old Willie Brown.
He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women.
Are you his daughter?
and fast cars.
You should from now on address me as...
You see the look on her face. Are you his daughter? She's like, that look right there. She's like, if I could kill you right now. No, I'm not. I'm just his piece. Man. Yeah, I'm sure old Doug Emhoff, he knows all about all this. It's not like it's secret. He didn't seem to have a problem with it. Man, this is crazy. This is crazy, man. One big club, that's for sure. She came up in it, passed around in it. 47% of all voters think that Harris is too progressive. So that's everyone. That's even from her side. They think that she's too progressive. And she does come hard with all that stuff, the socialist comments, all that. But all right, let's shift here into some of the world stage stuff here in terms of war. Biden makes a comment because he is still the sitting president at the moment. He says that it's working out letting Ukraine hit Russia with U.S. long-range missiles. So now they're just like, yeah, it's open, it's known, we're letting Ukraine use our missiles. They're striking deep into Russia. And to me, this is beckoning for an attack. This is beckoning for us to get hit. This ain't good. This ain't good. So what happens in the meantime? The biggest ever Ukrainian drone attack of the whole entire war just hit Moscow and its international airport. 144 drones were reported intercepted over the territory in the attack wave. 144 they intercepted. So they did a solid job in trying to take down most of these. They probably sent like a couple hundred. Some of them got through. But they took out a majority of them in the sky. You could see one of these high rises got hit, these buildings. So they're striking Moscow now, wreaking havoc in Moscow now. I was telling you months ago that when this happens, when Moscow itself starts to get direct hit, this is more damage being done than what was even being done at the end of World War II, when the Germans were creeping right up to Moscow, and then the war ended. Wonder if history kind of repeated itself here, as they're getting this close. Will some peace deal be struck? But that peace deal wasn't struck until a mushroom cloud was released, if you remember. Sure enough. So, Vladimir Putin and company keep saying they've changed the rules that if you want to attack them in Moscow, anything's on the table right now. Anything. They can use tactical nukes at any given moment. Any moment. Yeah. So that's where we're at there. And then Victoria Nuland, she's a former high-ranking State Department official. She goes on the record for a new tell-all, and she admits that the U.S. discouraged Ukraine from signing a Russian peace deal when they were really close. So she admits that, yeah, well, we could have had this whole thing settled, but they don't want that. They want the war to continue to keep grinding. The world is a stage, man. I'm telling you now. When you learn history and you look through these wars repeatedly for years, kind of like what I've done, you'll see that things just are so staged, all of it. I've said it before, Rothschild controlled all the money going into both sides of every war. Therefore controlled everything, the aspects of all of it, puppeteered all the guys, even Hitler, everyone, whether they realized it or not. They were all controlled. by the money masters. And nothing has changed today. It's one big club out there. It's a play on the people, on the minds of the masses. Innocent people get killed in the mix, and that's what this is all about, sadly. So, there is this town of Pokrovsk, and they're saying that if Russia can move in and take over this area, then the whole of the rest of the eastern part of Ukraine will fall. And that they're very close to doing this. When you look at these maps, and they're circling these spots where Russia's making advancements in all of them. Every single one of these circles, there's a box next to it, and it gives a date. And the update in it is that Russia has advanced in all these places. And they're coming right up on this town. It's like the next one on the list. It's right there. If they achieve taking this, I don't know what Ukraine plans to do. There doesn't need to be a war over here, period. But the West, our United States government, in other countries really seem to want to cause destruction between there and Moscow. They're not trying any sniper or assassination attempts or nothing on Putin. Putin's been all over the place. He was just in Mongolia. There was an order to arrest him. They didn't do it. But he's flying around, this and that. If they really wanted him, they could have got him, in my opinion. When you're flying around openly, internationally, that's a farce. Give me a break. When they really want you, like they wanted Gaddafi, they track you down and kill you in the streets. I remember years and years ago, Gaddafi was sleeping in tents out in the desert, and they were trying to bomb him in places like that. Like he was doing anything and everything to avoid the beast. Not just flying around, however he wants, going whatever country he wants. This world's a stage, man. All right, let's go to the next war front real quick. An Israeli Black Hawk down in Rafah. Several dead and injured. It's kind of like Mogadishu. That's what it reminds me of. But this happened in Gaza. With everything that's been going on for 10 months there. Now, all of a sudden, as this event happens, it's the first time we've really heard this, whether they're really being truthful or not. Israel offers to end the war. The Hamas leader Sinwar to be given safe passage if all other hostages are returned. This is a huge announcement in terms of the war front. Will it happen? I mean, they go back on what is said all the time. I mean, out of nowhere, Israel starts bombing places all the time. I mean, they just did it in Syria a couple days ago. Just turn around and start bombing the other way. Start bombing them. And it's been carnage for the whole past year. And a lot of propaganda and everything else in the mix. But if they could end this war, wow, it would just be one war front. That would just be Gaza. Them going all the way down into Gaza as far as they wanted to. That means to me that they're just going to turn their guns somewhere else. And I'm telling you, Syria, Lebanon, Syria, those places top of the list. They ran as far as they wanted to south, and I could see them making that move going north from here. Let's go over to another place, Japan. They're complaining that China is muscling up on them with machine guns and boats and all this other stuff in the South China Sea or the East China Sea. Anything that has China's name on it, like any kind of sea, China's name connected, they think they own. And they own it in their mind in their mind all the way up to like 100 miles off the coast. In some instances, just 12 miles off the coast in some places. They're that strict with it. And I've told you how they're going to these little shoals and they're building them up, turning them into runways and military bases, and they're really trying to strong arm everything out here in this area. China is they just don't care. And they know that Japan is kind of weak. It's been weakened ever since the war because they were never allowed to take up a large offensive arsenal ever since the last major war. It was part of the deal. But the United States is wanting to send in defensive missiles there and use them offensively, which could end up getting Japan hit again by someone like China or something crazy. I don't know. North Korea keeps launching missiles over Japan's head left and right all the time. That's got to get old too, not being able to do something about it. Because I'd say if Japan had offensive weapons and were able to use them openly, they would have done hit them. And now, in what they call a first, the United States is alleging that China is directly supporting Russia in its war machine. So that's it's not beating around the bush anymore. That's just getting straight to it and saying, yeah, they're together in this. And if they're fighting Russia down in Ukraine, then they're fighting China there too. That's basically what they're saying. I told you, World War III, this is what it shapes up to be. There's a couple wild cards in there that, Turkey, India, that really, which way they lean in a major war is big. It really is. And it doesn't have to all be about bullets and bombs. Economic war can be just as devastating. Just as devastating when you can't get parts and supplies and all that. But I tell you, man, the world is a stage, man. Okay? Look at this. What does this say? That's why I tell you this. That's why I tell you this. The United States and China taking part in a joint military drill. This ain't the first time. Won't be the last time. We've seen this before, and it's like, how? How can this be? On the verge of world war, but the world is a stage. You cannot forget that China is controlled by the hand. Okay? Xi Jinping, the leader, is Western trained. Don't fall back asleep, man. Remember this. He went to Western colleges. His main man, his handler, was Henry Kissinger. Let that sink in for a minute. The man that runs China. They control this whole show, man. Just like they've controlled Russia since the Bolshevik Revolution. The world is a stage, man. And to me, it's just to kill innocent people in these wars in the midst. That's all it is. If a world power leader ever really was against them, they've killed them. There were some. They've stomped them out, all the way up to like Gaddafi. Like I said, he was one of the last big threats, man. I'm telling you, that man ran a whole country, had gold, had an arsenal, had an army, and all this. And he couldn't even wage war with the beast. So what are anyone else going to do? You tell me. Now, I see no man rising against this beast. Only a higher power. Honestly. And it's written. And I'll speak it into existence that it comes back and smokes all these fools. Because that's what's going to happen. All these useless humans that just want to slaughter each other. A higher power, a higher source is going to see that and be like, you can't get it together, right? You can't get it together? Just wiping this place out. We're going to start over again. You heard me. Last time it was by flood. Next it's by fire. He returns with a sword. He even told you, sell your cloak and go buy a sword. On that thigh it said, King of Kings, baby. He comes back. There is a Messiah. There is a higher power. There is. As real as Satan is, and you know it, there is a Most High. I'm telling you, there is an equal and opposite to it. Know this. They may want to hide it, the true name, and all the true wisdom, and all this other stuff is there. Making these moves. This OBS kicks out for only the second time in the stream. Hey, thank you for the coffee there, Pittsburgh Pete. I appreciate that to the fullest. Let's take a quick look here at who has all the nuclear submarines. If war does pop off, who's got the advantage? Let's get up to speed with... Well, it's not much, is it? Look at this. United States controls it. 66 nuclear subs. Russia comes in right behind us, although they have more nukes overall. Then China with 12. It only takes one, right? United Kingdom with 10. France with 9. India with 2. That's it. That's it worldwide. 6 countries have nuclear-powered submarines. It's it. It's not a lot. So, let's see. United States, United Kingdom, France on one side, Russia, China. I'm going to throw India in. They're in there with BRICS, which is crazy. I don't know how you contend against that, against the armies of China and India alone. You're better off trying to get them to go to war and kill each other, than to go to war against them. Yeah, so I don't think you have to worry about that, though. Honestly, there's so many invaders coming across our border right now from all these other places. Yeah, the Chinese, yes, because they're here, I believe, on a military mission. But these guys are coming in from all over the place. These gangs are. As I reported on the last stream, in some of the videos. Hello, the Divine Sorcerer. It's more than this Trente Iroquois. They're admitting that it's Venezuelan gangs. It's Cuban gangs. You know, you've got the whole thing with Haitians out there. I mean, it's all types of different stuff. Look at this. DC's not immune to all this. DC just got hit with a wave of chaos. A Gucci store and all that getting hit. Georgetown areas getting hit. They didn't say that it was migrants. They fell short of stating that. But a mob of people, similar to what we would have seen with BLM, just pops up out of nowhere and just starts trashing everywhere. I guess they couldn't stop them. Just like they couldn't stop these gangs from taking over places, right? We were fed the story out of Aurora, which, when people went there, nothing was what it seemed. It seemed like someone's twisting stories. Was there some crazy stuff that went down in this apartment complex in Aurora, as we found out? Yeah. They did show up. Some stuff did go down. But were they there when everyone else showed up, like asking questions? No. No one was around. And thank you, someone, for the coffee. It's appreciated more than you know. And we end up finding out that, yeah, there's gangs there, there's violence there, but it wasn't being occupied by dudes with guns on a daily basis and everyone being told to hand over their rent money to them. That was not happening. I mean, YouTubers and everyone else, gang members, were going there. We didn't see it. But we did see them admitting there's violence and there's gangs here and there's this and that, but it's not being occupied like they said. So it was twisted. It's twisted. And, all right, look at the cat and dog thing. It was twisted as well, okay? Someone's doing this, and you need to pay attention to what's happening here. We should track this all back to the original poster on all these events, see who we get. I think it'd be interesting. Because it gets put out there, there's a picture of a dude walking down the street with a duck or a geese in his hand. All right, where'd that come from? Let's track that back. What park? Who is the dude? And all this. Is it real? Did he kill it to go eat it? Is it coming from this area in Ohio, Springfield, and all this? Does it happen in period anywhere? It doesn't have to be Springfield. Are they doing it anywhere? So they start sharing video of a cop rolling up on a lady, a black lady, in Canton, Ohio, that killed a cat and ate a cat. And you will see fact-checking sites say they're putting up, because it's twisted information, okay? They're trying to mix that in with the Haitians and the Haitian story. And that's where, if you're not paying attention, you're going to get caught up in this. Because the woman that ate the cat that's on the body cam, where they're taking a picture right in front of her face and she opens her mouth, you can see her teeth and all that, that was not from Springfield. That did not happen in Springfield. Happened in Ohio, yes. She was not a Haitian. They said, we believe that woman is just a U.S. resident. She's lived there for many, many years. It was just another nutcase came out, killed a cat, and ate it. That did happen. It happened. So I don't care if she's Haitian or whatever, this and that. They practice voodoo, and it's very real. It's a very real thing. With the blood and the bones. I'm going to play a clip here in a second if I can find it. I think I liked it earlier. I didn't share it, but I liked this thing over on Twitter. And it's a guy from Jamaica that tells you, I know Haitians, and I'm going to tell you right now that this is how they roll. It's part of their culture, their belief system. Just like you pray, you go to church, believe in Jesus, do this and that. They believe that when you do this, it brings them good juju, good energy, and all this other stuff. Okay, it's part of the way they are. Okay, so here's the problem with this. Everybody listen up, because this is how it is. I seen a woman earlier in one of these interviews talking about what's happening, and it really hit home with me. Because she's like, we got to do something. She's like, I'm losing my mind. But she's like, they're coming here, right? And they're doing all these things. And they want to make it a race thing, but it's not a race thing. Don't fall for it. This is a culture thing, okay? And if you want to come here to our country, then you need to come here with respect. Do you understand me? And this is what's not happening. They're not getting respected. As this woman said, these men, these Haitian men, come from a culture where they, thank you, Luis, for the call face, much love, where they disrespect women, where they treat them way different. It's a reality check. Treat them, as some people would say here, like dogs. Abuse them. And all this other stuff. Look down upon them. Okay? Could smack them around, could do all these things that they get away with in their culture. So her argument is, if you're going to come here, you leave that at the damn door. Like, if you're going to come to our country, then you need to assimilate. You need to adapt. Not be bringing all your crap like this with you. And I agree. Like, if you go to that country, if you go to like Haiti, expect that if you're a woman, like they probably just walk up and start smacking you around because they don't care. You see what I'm saying? It's just how it is. It's one example of one place. Not everyone's like that there, but it's the culture thing again. And you know it's true. It's not just there. It's all over the planet. Certain religions are like this. Women can't even show their freaking faces. And you know what I'm talking about. So again, you come here, but respect how we live. Don't try to force every person to cover every part. You can't even see their eyes in town because you moved here. And if she doesn't want to do it, smack the crap out of her. Nah, we ain't having that. Ain't having it. See, someone's going to rise up and buck back regardless. They can call them an extremist, a terrorist. They can call them whatever names they want to call them. They're going to rise and they're going to smash. I'm telling you, at some point here. I could see it. I even seen in these YouTube videos, these interviews of people in Ohio, some white folks that were up there saying, look, we've been here for years. And they're straight up, they're like, what do you think happens when they bring in all these immigrants, all the other places? War. It's what come out of their mouth. I'm like, oh, boys, I need to come visit y'all. Something has to be done. Like, we need to rally the troops. Like, something has to give. They see it, thankfully. I mean, unfortunately, they're getting inundated in some of these areas, but you got to know that it's not just an overnight thing. Like the situation up there in Springfield, they've been at this for a couple years now, shipping them in to where it's got to this point. Not all the people are bad. There are good people that come here that want to do the migrant thing, have a better life and all that. But they're getting robbed too. Any legitimate migrant that's here on paperwork or visa, you should be just as pissed off at all the illegals as the rest of us, if not even more pissed off. Because of everything you had to go through legally, and they're just walking right in. You should be really pissed. Straight up, there's a big difference between legal and illegal invaders. Big time. So, somebody find a way, like I just said, to wake up the everyday migrant and put a light bulb in their head. Be like, look, these illegals are taken away from you. As soon as turn them against them. Turn the tide, okay? Divide the whole pack and see who's legal and who's illegal and get the illegals out of here. Because that's what it's about in the end. That's where all the criminals are at, and all that. They're not legally letting in the criminals. They get rejected right through the legal process. But through the Biden regime's process to catch and release, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a triple murderer. It doesn't matter. Let them go. You could even come here, commit murder, and then they release you on bond. It is sick. Catch me in one of them states, man. Cannons, Spiro. Salutes, gentlemen. So, all right. That was Colorado, right? And then they put a threat out saying all this Chicago stuff. And the Chicago guys stepped up and were like, we got switches up here. Like, you want to come up here, you'll find out. Spear says, took his friends 10 years to go through the process. BS, yeah. Well, I think we can agree the whole game's a little rigged. Huh? Much love again, gentlemen. Let's go to Texas, back down Texas, where the Permian Basin was getting hit by not just Venezuelan, but Cuban gangs. And what are we finding out? They're taking over hotels there. This time, El Paso. So, Uncommon, Doug, if you're still out there, brother, I seen you in the chat earlier. This is your neck of the woods. Matter of fact, this is your town. I believe you live in El Paso. Brother, this is a big story. If you could get some information on it, this would be good. And I would report it here on the stream, anything that you find. The El Paso County Attorney's Office has filed for a temporary injunction and a restraining order, as well as an original petition for abatement of a common nuisance against a hotel over allegations surrounding suspicious criminal activity involving the Trinidad Aragua gang members. This is the once prestigious hotel built in 1903 and transformed into its current state in 1927, and ran by Howard Young. He acquired the property in 2015 with the promise of restoration. However, despite initial efforts, the building has operated without a valid certificate since 2018. This violates the city's regulations. But since then, Trinidad Aragua has moved in to take over with aggravated assaults, drug use, prostitution, you name it. It's all happening at this Gateway Hotel. The Gateway Hotel in El Paso. So again, if you're out there, Doug, or anyone, if you're in Texas, El Paso, you can get any information on this site. Give it a visit. Get some video footage of what's going on. If you can go inside the buildings, talk to someone, get an interview, anything like that, it'd be appreciated. It'd be earning some stripes here in my book. Hey. Okay, Spiro. Yeah. Much love, Crown Jewels. Good to see everybody out there tonight, man. Wish I could see you guys in the flesh sometimes. Look, it's not just these guys. I know you guys have heard of MS-13, these other foreign gangs. MS-13 being among the biggest out there throughout the years. They're highly active still here in this country, causing chaos. For instance, in Maryland, one kills a girl and then goes and enrolls into the high school. They didn't even do the check on this guy and let him go and enroll after killing someone. This Walter Martinez, and come to find out he's an MS-13 gang member, 16 years old. He murdered Kayla Hamilton. Yep. So, he just walked across the border, was picked up by U.S. Border Patrol, and they sent him to a sponsor in Maryland and just let him go. Sponsor in Maryland. This stuff. This is insane. All right, I'm gonna play a little clip here. This is Project Veritas. This is the DOJ immigration attorney saying that Biden has the authority to end all of this. But the Democrat mega donors control the border agenda. You know, the guys behind the curtain, that's who we're going to look at next. We're going to look at who's pulling these strings. I just want you to hear from one of these people.
Why don't they just close the border? That's my question.
I personally think Biden has the power to do that. The refugee and asylum stuff is a mess. There's the backlog for asylum is so bad because there's so much more immigration than there was 20 years ago.
What's the percentage of cases that you see come across that get deported?
Not many. Out of all the ones I've seen so far, they have all been asylum approvals.
Deportation's good? But a Democrat appointee couldn't say that because it does not. Why?
But it fit the party platform.
And who made the party platform is my question.
Whoever gives the most money to the Democratic Party. And we're completely controlled by the special interests above us.
I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people.
It is my testimony that the border is secure.
And we're completely controlled by the special interests above us.
So you work with the DHS officers?
Yeah, they're actually called immigration officers. Yeah, and they're under U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. So U.S. Citizenship and Immigration is like the benefits agency for immigrants. I'll be at DOJ. I started in February, and I'll be there until next February.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll go back to my other job.
Which was what?
The council with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
Okay, so they're just putting you on loan.
Yeah, basically, that's a very good way to think about it.
Oh, the refugee and asylum.
And like, that's...
What do you mean?
It's just so much. I mean, there's so many people applying for asylum. Like, there's all those people at the border that are coming over, then saying, I'm applying for asylum. They don't know what to do. And then, like, there's the backlog for asylum is so bad. There's more flows of people coming in now.
Why is that?
Because Biden's president. Because he's more liberal on immigration. Because there's so much more immigration than there was 20 years ago.
And yeah, even more than during Trump, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. But they don't admit that. Why? Why don't they just close the border? That's my question.
I personally think Biden has the power to do that. I really do think that Biden has executive authority to close the border. I think the power has been delegated to him by the Immigration and Nationality.
That's not opinion. That's you knowing the law.
Yeah, I think, or not. I mean, me total, but like Garland, not Garland. Mayorkas.
Well, you can see there. I'm gonna turn this back down. You can see that this guy is just spilling the beans on what's really going on here. And thank you, Deanne, for the 7 coffees. Much love. Right back at you. The support, appreciated more than you guys know. These undercover stings, man, they go a long way, though. They show us, because in them, you just get the raw and the real. And you can see right here that this whole it's rigged against us. It's rigged against us. And in the end, we're literally fighting like bad bossmen at the end of the video game. Right? Literally. That's what we're up against. That's what this has turned into. Okay? And Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, George Soros, all these billionaires that are pulling the strings, we know of it. There's paper trails that show it. They're 501c3s and C4s. They allow them to funnel money into all these things, into all these NGOs, these little shell companies that they prop up to do their dirty work. And we know this. We know it openly. I mean, you should be able to get these guys in court and nail them. Right? Like I said before, most of them live in the United States. They can be apprehended if a warrant was put out on them. Someone's going to say you're going to have to find a judge that would do so. Well, yeah, you're going to have to start there. But it needs to happen. And they need to be tried for treason in a long list of charges that I could sit here for an hour on each one going over. Some of them committed on film, like with Bill Gates and his atrocities, where he's admitted to administering vaccines and stuff like that to kids in other countries. When he's not even a doctor, a licensed person to do it. Do you understand? All these things. When George Soros has hired people off the streets in this country to go cause chaos, that is treason. That is treasonous to do these things. Much, not even just here, but globally. To send them across the Mediterranean, out of Africa, and into Europe. They've been doing this. They're the ones that did this. The same ones that have flooded the UK, that have flooded Ireland, that have flooded all the places. It's been them. Yes. These are the dark money billionaires. You know who it is. So I envision in my mind that You ever seen that scene at the end of Scarface where he's up in his little palace and all these dudes come storming over the fence and through the yard, and then the shootout begins and all that? You know what I'm saying? It's going down. Scarface is shooting up. It's the top of the staircase. These dudes are pouring in, these guerrillas. They're coming in from everywhere. They're just dumping and dumping and dumping. Even dude slips in through the back window in his top office, and eventually, they get him. You feel me? Like, yeah. That's how Scarface went down. And, well, you know, these dudes camping out here in the United States, where no one will even say a word. Like, you don't have to go after these people with pitchforks. You don't have to go after these people with violence, threats. You don't have to, man. Your numbers is where it counts. Really, it is. If people would start protesting with their numbers, you can get some things done. And we've seen it. We've seen it. We've seen people voice enough opinion to sway things, turn things, and shift things. You sure can. Sitting there not doing nothing allows them to enforce things, lock you down, all these other things. You know, when people actually start bucking back, you can make a difference. From what I see, large numbers of people approaching these situations in a peaceful manner is going to be the best start. Trying to find a judge in the jurisdiction of where these guys live to issue a warrant on them is going to be where you have to start. So you get to start where these guys live, a judge that even hear you that's not bought out, and go from there. You have to have one that hears the case, a prosecutor, a DA, someone that hears the case and is willing to take it on and not be scared of these guys and their money, because ultimately that's what it is, right? They're not going to stop. Obviously, they're never going to stop. They're the world's most richest and powerful men, and they're criminal in nature. Zuckerberg has been caught stealing all of our information and selling it and making billions. It's criminal. Anyone else did a fraction of that, you'd be in jail for life. Yet, he didn't. We should have sued him. We, the people, should have sued him and got our fair share out of that, because it was our information that he sold and made all that money. But we didn't. Everyone sat there, did nothing. So our government said, okay, if you're not going to do nothing, we're going to take what you should have got. Zuck, we need to see you. And they called him in, slapped him on the wrist, and they're like, give us $6 billion. He's like, sure. Gave him $6 billion and walked. And walked. This paid the fee to pass go. You understand? That's all he did. Was allowed to keep on stealing all of our stuff and selling it to this day, guaranteed. He just paid the fee and just kept on pushing. He's like, yeah, well, if I can make $50 billion and just have to pay you guys $6 as the fee, the overlord fee. That's what it is. That's the tax, so to speak, he's paying. So it's this is where the term dark money comes in. It is true, because it is a lot of dark money, man. It's none of these people have good intentions, man. They're not out there doing great things. They're just not. It's like if you hear Bill Gates is buying farmland near you, you better like get a plan together. Because he's bringing GMO alpha and all this other stuff. It's gonna, whether you realize it or not, the birds and the bees carry these things, and they infest and decimate local harvests. That's why you got to have laws on the books, man. Farmers here in this country have already found out the hard way. When GMO gets spread out in the open, it's like done. It's out of the bag. You can't never put it back in the bottle. It's done. When a GMO strain is spread by Mother Nature, out there by the wind and the elements, it's out there. It's now in the mix of the whole planet. and there's no changing it. You can't change it. So therefore, if you're doing this down the road, 10 miles, 20 miles, doesn't matter. And it's GMO'd, and the birds and the bees and all that stuff are carrying this to the next field, into your field, which is going to happen. There's no way to stop it. It then brings the pollination of those GMO plants into yours, seeds, all that. Drops them in your field. The next thing you know, you're contaminated. And it's happened again and again and again. You wonder why he's doing this. I feel it's part of his plot, because he's not doing anything in particular there besides letting the GMOs grow. He's kicking the cows off. He doesn't believe in none of that. He's pushing beyond meats. I don't know, man. Okay, they're chopping up the Mexican gang members with machetes. No outlets are talking about it. Like, wow. Like, Uncommon. Oh, TDA. What? Like, man, did you hear what I said earlier, Uncommon? Doug? The story out of El Paso? The Gateway Hotel? It's right there in your town. If you can get anything on that, it would be appreciated. Maybe you did say something, I didn't see it. If you can get anything on it, drive by, see what you see. Get some footage, some interviews if you can. Just be safe. Do your thing. I mean, if it's your city, your town, they're in your town. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? They're in your town, bro. Like, or you already been to the hotel. They're getting kicked out tomorrow. Okay, see, there's some updates. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all make sure to follow Uncommon. He's on the ground down there getting it in. Has been. And if I ever get a chance to get down there, I'll be there with him. Yeah, man. So thank you for those updates there, brother. Any other info you end up sending our way. Right. What time is it? Right. I'll end with this little one tonight. We have a new manual that has been given to police across the country. And anytime you see these new manuals, I think they're worth looking at and noting. Like, you know, what do they say? Why are they doing this? This manual in particular, given to all U.S. police. So U.S. police in the United States here get this handbook on UFOs, or what they call UAPs. And this guide has references, has all the stuff and what to do, all the considerations, some history, and that in the end, these things are considered to be controlled by biologicals, whatever that means, that are of an unknown origin, and that they're a high national security threat, is basically what they put. They're a high-level national security threat, period, hands down. I feel like they've been trying to soften everybody up for some kind of disclosure, soft disclosure in breadcrumb form, so to speak, has been happening for a minute. Past couple years, several years, they've been releasing footage and all these different stories, and people like Grush has gone before the government talking about all these things openly. And he said things that have never been said before on record about how, for sure, they have like biologicals. That's the term he used. Yeah, basically ETs, life. They have the fallen. That's what he won't call them, but he's got they're in contact with the fallen all day long, man. these bases and Dulce and underground dumbs all over the place where where the fallen are at, who do you think give them half this technology? They're working with them and all this other stuff. But every time you see an orb or a UFO, it does not mean it's got life in it, for one, like physical life. It could be consciously guided. Some of these could be in more light form energy than a physical craft. Other craft that you're seeing, could have any type of life or being in it, even human at this point. This is all fallen tech. For the most part, but you got to remember there's good guys. So if all the governments are in cahoots with these demons, with the fallen, they give them this. They are. All the world's a stage. All the humans are just to be sacrificed and mauled up in these stupid little games and wars that they want to call whatever they call, that we fall for. But all the world leaders are in on this. They know this. They know that the fallen are here. They basically worship them. In turn, they get technology and sacrifices these big wars. They're churning up all these souls, all these people on a daily basis that's getting slaughtered, man. And they're pleasing them in that way. Plus, if the records are to be held accountable, if we look back at the ancient record of the Anunnaki and show the original ones that landed here, they wanted gold. What are all the humans, all the governments doing? More than anything. They're stacking gold. They do all these things. You work. Everything, the world revolves around money. Money. What is money? What's dollars? But at the end of the day, it's gold. And come to find out that these fallen want gold. And that's what they're stacking more than anything, man. These things are here. We've been sold out. And the rest is a show. That's how I see it. The world is a stage. They know it. They're all in bed together. The rest is the show to fool the people. They control the media. They control it all. They're all actors. Full scale. Most of them leave Hollywood and go where? Into politics. Why? Because that's the big dog act. That's the real acting. You see, that's the real stuff, man. It's not the other way around. See, you don't come out of politics and go into acting. No, they always come out of acting and go into politics so they can take it onto the world stage to fool the people, and that's what they do. Anyhow, I thought I would throw this out there and just let you know if you start to see crazy stuff in the sky. There will be this fake invasion staged, something, I'm sure, with Project Bluebeam and probably even real craft. A big show of its own will go down at some point here, I'm sure. And your police are now being told how to handle it. So there's a new manual out for that. So, yeah. Now you know. And yeah, that takes me out to 11:14 tonight. All right. With 11:11 watching when I look down. All right. Well, much love to all you guys. I appreciate you guys joining me for another one. Trying to go live 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 9 p.m. Eastern. Dropping videos almost daily on the YouTube channel, on this channel. And I think for now, I will stick with just going live here on YouTube for the moment. So I know that I get these streams locked down pretty good. We got through tonight pretty good. So, if I can just keep them going like this, thankful for that. Much love, Mock. Kathy, all you guys out there, man. I appreciate all the love. Everyone that hangs out, everyone that shares the stream, sends prayers. I appreciate it all. Yeah, guess I'm going to take us out of here. Want some music. I look to be back on Friday for the next one. Again, on this 9/11, RIP to all the souls lost on that day and everyone that we've lost since. Much love and God bless. If the Lord doesn't return here in the coming days, we'll see you here next time for Underground World News Live. Much love. Thank you, Eon. Much love, Preston Berg. You're in my backyard. Was just there the other day. Cat. All my cats out there. I love you. All the purebloods. I love all of you. May the Most High bless you.